Hello and welcome to Rauta's Black Metal Reviews. This time we have the one and only band from Portugal, Gaerea. Now a lot of people seem to dislike or even hate this band and say it's not black metal, it's just something different and all that stuff, while others, like me, seem to enjoy it. What's the case really with this band? I mean, let's put it this way. A lot of Portuguese bands come from more the raw end of black metal and totally different kind of a approach to the style than Gaerea. Now, I've liked the band for many years, actually before they had a full album out, and I remember liking them and being like, okay, this is something that I need to follow. Then the follow-up came. I mean, it was probably the second album, and I was like, okay, these are nailing it once again. Now, this summer I was happy to witness them live at Midgård's Blood, and they played a fierce, intense show with fast tempo black metal, and having quite interesting live setup with all masked and kind of a uniform setup. That is the kind of a style of here. I mean, a lot of people feel it like it's a gimmick, but I can totally respect and understand why these guys are not just yet another jeans and t-shirt black metal band. I mean, come on, we need more mystery than that. Now, it might be for everybody, I get it, but for me, Gaerea is one of the best bands coming from that area. Might be actually my favorite black metal band coming from Portugal. And if you're one of those haters or dislikers, no shame in that. It's just not your cup of tea. That's totally fine. But for me, this is something that I truly like, and this new album makes no exception to that. So to quickly recap the band. Been here since 2016 and started with the self-titled Gaerea EP, the one that I found like very likable. Missed this first album back in the days, but Limbo 2020 was a good one. Then it has been, Corona, pandemic seasons. So a couple of years fast forward when we have Mirage. Mirage was released actually few weeks later than my interview with the band. That is, I had them seen in August 2022 in Norway, and this album came out, as you can see, by Season of Mist, and end of September, so roughly some 5 weeks after they played live. But already back then, seeing the guys live, having this interview, and by the way, in my opinion, he had some really interesting points to make. It really proved that there is an album in the making that is going to tickle my boxes the right way. Tickle or tick, doesn't matter. Both are really good here. This album will last for 53 minutes, which is quite a lot for a black metal band. I mean, only a few bands can actually do that, especially when there's not enough, changes or variation, diversity during the course of the album. But somehow Mirage is able to do that. How? I'm trying to explain, and already saying that, I know I'm kind of going to fail. This album starts lightly, very, very melodic and interesting ways with the first track, Memoir. Why interestingly is that it's just not really ready to showcase their intensity, fast tempo and all that stuff, because there's an actually very comforting intro. It sounds like they're just going to nicely slide you in and boom, then they're gonna nail it, giving you this fast-paced, very fierce, energetic, violent riffing and blasting, and it's like, okay, these guys are not, doing some softer way of melodic black metal. There's so many bands nowadays do this kind of atmosphere, beautiful music, yes, given, but not exactly sounding extreme metal like black metal is supposed to be. Actually, throughout the chorus, Mirage is mostly fast tempo and very fierce. However, they don't really sound like the next Marduk, but closer to bands like Mgwa and the like. Or some people might say Uada, Groza, whatever. But these are all more or less successors or followers or copycats, whatever you want to use, to Mgwa. But Mirage, or Gaerea in total, in definition by that, doesn't really follow directly the footsteps of Mgwa. There are lots of similarities, but also sounding quite different. And that's the beauty of it. They sound fresh, and yet at the same time there are these similarities which you can totally relate to. The album is beautifully done. There are lots of cool melodies and this kind of a modern black metal riffs. By modern, I don't necessarily mean so-called third wave or whatever you call dissonant black metal these days, but definitely the type of riffs that don't really take you to 1990s, not to mention 80s. So it's definitely more modern than a lot of bands doing the kind of a retro stuff and leaning towards 3 decades old Norwegian or Swedish black metal. So Gaerea is on the verge of doing very modern stuff and also leaning towards the very basics. That is what we might even call old school black metal nowadays, even though I'm kind of a type who calls old school black metal when we're talking about 80s and all that stuff. But yeah, 30 years ago, I mean, it's kind of old already. And Gaerea is already taking 2 steps forward of that. So traditional in one way, but also modern in other ways. Now, that combined with a fresh and really good and solid production, some might say it's way too pure and all, but in my opinion, especially with the drumming, because there are nuances, there are details which you need to really hear, this kind of a crisp, clear production is very, very much needed. And also it supports the melodic riffs which are there to play intense, and if this was more mushier, more rehearsal room-like, it would become more chaotic and it wouldn't sound that powerful and clean and all that stuff. In my opinion, Mirage is a refreshing take. However, it could be a lot catchier, it could be more memorable. It's kind of an album I truly enjoy throughout the whole course of the album. But, that being said, there are still parts where I kind of hope it was more catchier. That I would actually remember some of those riffs like, yes, the kind of instant classics. I'm talking about, individual songs that really separate the chaff from the good stuff. But even that being said, Mirage is a good album. One of the better ones to come out this fall. I am going to say that aloud. And I think this is a really, really good new chapter in the books of Gaerea. What I would hope the band would do in the future, and this is where I realize I have no place to say that. I mean, it's not like I'm a producer or a label guy. I'm just a review guy or a fan of the band. I hope they would include a little bit of more of those hooks, the kind of a parts, be it chorus part or guitar leads or just individual riffs where you just really nail it. I'm talking about the classic songs which totally resonate with your brain. It might be In the Shadow of the Horns, or it might be Panzer Division Mardigal, whatever song you're going to use as an example. Like, you know instantly when we're talking about certain parts which really tick your box right away. Also, trying to make those songs a little bit more compact could really create the effect of impact. That is, less is more. Instead of 8 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. But these are just my pointers, and I understand that everybody's going to agree with it. So once again, making sure that you understand. In my opinion, this is a good album, and personally, that's the reason why an album like this was requested by me for review and why it's going to my collection, not just thrown away like some piece of metal crap. And that being said, give this album a chance. You will find links provided in the description box. It's a good, solid album and definitely giving a chance. Also, if you like the band already or if you're new to the band, give the interview a chance. I will link it to the review video here. I hope you enjoy it. In my opinion, we had a really fruitful conversation and something new to learn for you, I hope. This is Rauta. See you soon. Bye-bye.